The king says, you need to give up your titles. This is getting ridiculous.
In just 2 weeks, a shocking accusation has thrust Meghan Markle back into the center of intense controversy with the British royal family. An anonymous former nanny has suddenly emerged, releasing an audio recording and video allegedly capturing the moment Meghan coldly neglected her young daughter Lilibet while the baby cried uncontrollably. Before the public could even process it, Meghan immediately fired back, insisting it was all a carefully orchestrated conspiracy by the royal family to undermine her and strip her family of their titles. What makes the story even more tense is the reaction of Princess Catherine. Without making any public statements, she quietly began her own investigation, tracing the nanny's identity and the evidence behind the claims. As each detail gradually came to light, from the child's hospital records to the unanswered calls, the picture grew far more complex than anyone imagined. Is this truly a sophisticated smear campaign, or a truth Meghan can no longer hide? Late one night 2 weeks ago, while the world seemed to have fallen asleep, a slow-burning bomb quietly spread across social media. Just 17 short seconds, but enough to shake the image of the couple once called Hollywood royalty. A woman's voice rang out in the darkness, clear, weary, and unmasked in its irritation. "If it weren't for Harry, I wouldn't have given birth to Lilibet." There was no video, no full context, but the voice and the emphasis on the name Harry immediately made most people think of Meghan Markle. Within 1 hour, the recording had exploded with millions of views. Public opinion in both Britain and America erupted. Some were utterly shocked, mouths agape in disbelief. Others shook their heads in dismay. Lilibet, the child born amid the media storm of 2021, was now thrust straight into the heart of a painful scandal. The next morning, Meghan responded with lightning speed. On the official Sussex account, she posted a short but sharp statement. "That is not my voice. This is the most vulgar and regrettable smear I have ever witnessed. We will not stay silent in the face of these lies." Harry immediately shared the post, showing absolute support for his wife. But the public was not easily convinced. Everything descended into chaos. Then, just hours after Meghan's denial, an anonymous account suddenly appeared. It had been created only days earlier, with no profile picture and no posting history. Yet its very first post sent shockwaves through social media. "I am Lilibet's former nanny. I was there. The recording is real, and I have more evidence." Below the post was a blurry photo, only a familiar corner of a wooden table with a few children's toys. But anyone who had followed Meghan immediately recognized the interior style she had proudly shared before. The person continued, voice full of indignation. "I don't want fame. I just can't sit by while the truth is distorted. Meghan said that not just once, and I was fired right after." The accusation poured fuel on the fire. Public outrage grew fiercer. Meghan's supporters still tried to defend her, claiming it was a smear campaign. But more and more people began to waver. They remembered the images Meghan had once posted, radiant smiles with her children, stories of sacred motherly love. Now, all of it seemed to be crumbling violently. Inside the Montecito mansion, the atmosphere was stifling. The light in Meghan's office burned all night. Harry paced back and forth, gripping his phone tightly. Meghan clenched her phone so hard her veins stood out. The real storm had only just begun. The very next morning, after the mysterious recording went viral, the same account shocked the world again. This time, it wasn't just words. It was a 4-minute 13-second security camera video posted online. The image quality wasn't crystal clear, and no faces were visible. But the content inside was enough to make millions shudder. In the frame, the sound of a baby around 1 year old crying echoed endlessly from the next room. The cries started soft, then grew louder, hoarser, and more desperate. Meanwhile, the woman, widely believed to be Meghan, lay stretched out on a luxurious king-size bed. She wore silk pajamas, her hair in a high bun, phone in hand, eyes glued to the screen. Every time the crying intensified, she only frowned slightly, scrolled her finger a little faster, and continued as if nothing was happening. She never once got up. She offered no soothing words. She showed no sign of concern. 4 minutes passed in that cold indifference. Immediately, the room's interior became living proof. The thick white fur rug, the light gray sofa in the corner, the abstract painting on the wall, and even the position of the window all matched perfectly with photos Meghan had proudly posted on Instagram and the Sussex royal site just months earlier. There was no mistaking it. Public outrage exploded even more fiercely than with the audio. At the Montecito mansion, the atmosphere grew so heavy it could be cut with a knife. Harry paced the living room, repeatedly running his hands through his hair, his face flushed with anger and anxiety. "You have to do something, Meghan! We can't let them keep spreading this." He stopped, his voice dropping. "Our daughter, Lilibet. If people watch this video, what will they think of us?" Meghan sat on the sofa, her face pale, eyes slightly swollen. She gripped her phone until her knuckles turned white. "They want us to panic, Harry. This is the royal family's conspiracy. They never accepted that we were left to live our own lives. Now they're using every trick to strip us of our titles, even the children's." Her voice trembled, but she tried to stay strong. "I won't let them win." Less than 2 hours later, Meghan held an emergency Instagram Live. Hundreds of thousands watched. She appeared beside Harry, makeup carefully applied, but unable to hide her exhaustion. "This video is fabricated," Meghan said, struggling to keep her voice calm. "This is part of a systematic smear campaign to bring my family and me down. The British royal family cannot accept that we are living freely, so they resort to every possible tactic. I will not let my children become victims of this power game." She paused, took a deep breath, eyes glistening. "I am a mother. I love my children more than anything in the world. Do not let these edited videos destroy our family." Harry nodded, placing a hand on her shoulder, but everyone could see the lost, helpless look in his eyes. However, this time, Meghan's defense lacked the persuasive power it once had. No evidence was provided, no video forensic report, no independent experts, no specific explanation for the matching interior. Public opinion began to split clearly. Her supporters shrank, while the doubters surged. Many who had been neutral now openly expressed disappointment. If she's truly innocent, why not sue immediately? Why only blame the royal family? Media experts noted that the security camera video had completely changed the game. What began as a vague rumor was now visual evidence that the public could see and judge for themselves. British newspapers reported relentlessly, while American media grew more cautious, fearing defamation lawsuits. The anonymous account remained silent. Everyone understood this was not the final blow. At Kensington Palace, a heavy atmosphere prevailed. Princess Catherine sat before her computer screen, re-watching Meghan's live stream. Every accusation against the royal family made her clench her fists until her nails dug into her skin. "She's blaming the royal family again," Catherine said quietly, voice filled with anger. William stood beside her, hand on her shoulder. "Catherine, I suspect the evidence is real. Catherine nodded, but refused to respond noisily in the media. This time she would act her own way, quietly but decisively. The very next morning, Catherine contacted the director of the high-end staffing agency the royal family regularly used. This was the firm that provided nannies, chefs, and staff for royal members. Within 48 hours, the true identity of the person behind the anonymous account was confirmed. Emily Hargrove, 34, British, who had worked for the Sussex family in America during the period the security video was recorded. Catherine did not hesitate. She arranged a secret meeting at a small, quiet cafe on the outskirts of London. Emily arrived on time, wearing a simple coat, her face showing clear exhaustion and tension. She sat down, hands gripping her document folder tightly. "Your Highness, I don't want money or fame. I just can't let the truth stay hidden any longer," Emily said, her voice slightly shaky. Catherine looked straight into Emily's eyes, her tone calm but firm. "I am here to hear the truth. No judgment, no bias, only what really happened." Emily took a deep breath and opened the folder. She pushed a thin but weighty file across to Catherine. First was a copy of Lilibet's hospital admission record when the baby was just over 1 year old. It clearly stated, high fever of 39.5 degrees Celsius, continuous crying for over 4 hours, suspected dehydration. The person who signed the baby in was not Meghan or Harry, but Emily Hargrove herself. "I called Meghan and Harry a total of 27 times during those 3 hours," Emily recounted, her voice choking. "I sent continuous messages. Baby has a very high fever, needs to go to the hospital immediately." But no one answered. In the end, I had to decide for myself. If we waited any longer, the baby could be in danger. Catherine turned the pages. The call logs were printed clearly. Dozens of unanswered calls, messages read but unreplied. The timestamps matched the security video perfectly. Emily continued, her voice growing stronger. "After the baby was discharged, Meghan scolded me harshly. She said I hadn't fulfilled my responsibilities, that I had made everything worse. But she was the one who wasn't there. She was lying in her room on her phone while her daughter cried herself to exhaustion." Catherine listened in silence. Her face hardened, her eyes showing clear disappointment mixed with anger. She had once believed that, despite their conflicts, Meghan was still a mother. But this evidence painted a completely different picture, one of indifference and loss of control under pressure. "I advised her many times," Emily added. "I told her that work pressure cannot be placed on the heads of young children. But Meghan said I was overstepping. 2 days later, I was let go with no official reason." Catherine closed the file, her hand trembling slightly. She no longer had any doubt. All the logic, timing, and physical evidence aligned perfectly. This was not a conspiracy. This was the harsh truth from inside Meghan's own home. Before they parted, Catherine gently took Emily's hand. "Thank you for having the courage to come forward. I will ensure the truth comes to light, not for revenge, but to protect innocent children." On the way back to the palace, Catherine gazed out the car window, deep in thought. She thought of George, Charlotte, and Louis, her own children. She could not imagine leaving them crying to the point of hospitalization. And now she knew she could no longer stay silent. The key evidence was in her hands. The real storm was about to break. While Catherine was gathering evidence in London, across the ocean in the Montecito mansion, Meghan Markle sank deep into memories she did not want to revisit. The desk lamp cast a dim glow in the dark room. She sat alone, a glass of red wine beside her gone cold. Her hands trembled as she scrolled through old family photos on her phone, the ones she had once posted to prove a perfect life. everything went back to the chaotic period after the couple left the royal family. Pressure came from all sides, non-stop criticism from the British press, heated arguments with her husband's family, business projects that demanded perfection, and growing isolation. Meghan felt like she was suffocating. She had once been a strong woman who controlled everything. But at that time, she began to lose control. There were nights when Lilibet cried non-stop, from teething, mild fevers, or simply wanting to be held. Meghan lay in bed, eyes fixed on her phone screen, scrolling through hundreds of work messages. She did not get up. She left it to Emily, the nanny, to handle. "I can't keep going on like this," Meghan had once whispered to herself. It wasn't that she was always indifferent. There were moments when she held her child, sang lullabies, and told fairy tales. But the greater the pressure, the rarer those loving moments became. Harry walked into the room and saw his wife sitting motionless. He gently placed a hand on her shoulder. "Thinking about the past again?" His voice was low, full of worry. Meghan looked up, eyes red. "Harry, I don't want to remember, but it's coming back to bite me." She remembered that fateful night clearly. Lilibet had been crying for 2 hours straight. Emily knocked on the bedroom door, voice anxious. "Ma'am, the baby has been crying so much. You should come check on her." At that moment, Meghan was preparing an important speech for a major project the next morning. She snapped, her voice sharp with exhaustion. "Emily, handle it yourself tonight. I need to focus. Don't disturb me anymore." Emily stood outside the door, hesitating. "But ma'am, the baby is—" Meghan cut her off, voice rising in anger. "You're overstepping. I pay you to take care of these things. Don't teach me how to be a mother." The door slammed shut. Emily quietly returned to the baby's room, holding Lilibet in her arms all night, tears streaming down her cheeks. The next morning, Lilibet had a high fever. Emily called and texted non-stop. No replies. In the end, Emily had to take the baby to the hospital herself. When Meghan learned the news, she did not rush to the hospital. She finished her online meeting first, then appeared with a concerned, rehearsed expression. Afterward, she blamed Emily. "You didn't fulfill your duties. I trusted you, and you let my child end up like this." 2 days later, Meghan fired Emily without notice. "You are not a good fit for our family," she said coldly. Emily only shook her head, voice sad. "Ma'am, I am not the problem. The pressure is changing you. Your children need their mother more than a perfect nanny." Now, sitting in the quiet room, Meghan felt deep regret. She loved her children. But the way she had handled her stress had made Lilibet pay the price. Harry sat down beside her, holding her hand tightly. "We've overcome so much already. This time will be the same." But his voice no longer sounded as certain as before. He too knew those mistakes were now sharp weapons turned against them. Meghan stood up, pacing the room, voice full of despair. "If they make everything public, Harry, people won't forgive me. They'll call me a selfish mother, a liar. Everything we've built over the years will collapse." She stopped in front of the mirror and looked at herself. The once radiant face was now gaunt and exhausted. For the first time, Meghan felt real fear, not of losing fame, but of facing her own wrong choices. Outside, the press was lying in wait, and Catherine, with the file of evidence in hand, was about to step into the light. Meghan knew her counterattack might already be too late. The past she had tried to bury was rising, demanding an explanation she wasn't sure she could give. After meeting Emily Hargrove and thoroughly examining every document, Catherine could no longer remain silent. The evidence in her hands was not only clear, but painful. It painted a picture of a mother who had left her child to suffer in a medical emergency because of personal pressures. Catherine stayed up all night in her private office at Kensington Palace, reading and rereading every page. The next morning, the phones of major media outlets rang non-stop. Kensington Palace announced an unexpected press conference that afternoon. Not William, but Catherine herself would appear. The news spread like wildfire. Hundreds of journalists rushed to London. The room was packed, camera flashes firing constantly. The atmosphere as taut as a bowstring. Catherine entered at 3 p.m., wearing an elegant white suit, hair in a neat bun, her face solemn, yet radiating remarkable composure. She did not smile as usual. She stood behind the podium, hands resting lightly on the table, eyes looking straight into the cameras. "I am here today not to argue or seek personal revenge," Catherine began, her voice clear and resonant. "I am here for the truth that the Sussex family has repeatedly denied and blamed on our royal family." She held up each file, presenting them slowly, every word carefully chosen. "This is Emily Hargrove's employment record. She was hired as a nanny for the Sussex family from March to July 2022. The dates exactly match the security camera video the public has seen." Catherine paused for a second, then continued. "This is the hospital admission record for little Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor when she was 13 months old. She had a high fever and severe dehydration after many hours of continuous crying. The person who signed her in was Emily Hargrove, not her biological parents. Because for 3 full hours, Emily made 27 phone calls and sent more than 15 urgent messages, but received no response whatsoever." She held up the printed call and message logs for everyone to see. "This is irrefutable evidence. Indifference at the most critical moments for a child." The room fell silent. Only the constant sound of camera shutters remained. Catherine took a deep breath, her voice growing stronger. "I will officially sue Meghan Markle for defamation of the royal family. She has repeatedly publicly accused us of an orchestrated conspiracy by the royal family. Those statements are not only false, but have caused serious damage to our family's honor and affected the security and reputation of the kingdom. We are not doing this out of hatred. We are doing it out of responsibility to the truth and to the children." She ended with a short but powerful sentence. "I believe the public deserves to know the truth, and the truth is here." There was no question and answer session. Catherine gave a slight nod and left the room amid a storm of commotion. Within 1 hour, public opinion shifted dramatically as never before. In Montecito, Meghan and Harry sat in front of the television, faces ashen. Harry gripped his wife's hand, voice trembling. They really sued us." Meghan said nothing. She simply stared at Catherine's image on the screen, the woman standing there with evidence and unshakable dignity. For the first time, Meghan clearly felt that her defenses had lost all power. Public sentiment was no longer mere suspicion. It turned to outrage. Meghan's old statements about motherhood and love were dug up and dissected mercilessly. The Sussex couple's career shook violently. Partners began going silent, contracts were postponed, and public image faced harsh criticism. 1 week after Catherine's historic press conference, the pressure on Meghan and Harry had become unbearable. Every media outlet and social platform talked about only one thing: the irrefutable evidence from Kensington Palace. Contracts were canceled, major brands went silent, and even some celebrities who had once publicly supported them began to withdraw. Montecito, once a symbol of free living, was now steeped in stifling anxiety. Meghan knew she could not stay silent forever. She chose an online interview with a friendly American media outlet, hoping for some breathing room. The live stream began at 8 p.m. California time. Millions watched. Meghan appeared with her hair down, light makeup that could not hide her tired eyes and dark circles. Harry sat beside her, holding her hand tightly and trying to smile encouragingly. "I want to speak frankly today," Meghan began, her voice softer, no longer as sharp as before. "The past few days have been truly difficult for our family. I admit that. There were times I lost control because of extreme pressure. Being a mother under constant media spotlight, amid endless criticism, is not easy." She paused, taking a deep breath, as if trying to hold back emotion. "I am not perfect. No one is. There were nights I was exhausted and relied on the nanny more than I should have. But everything has been blown out of proportion. Those videos, those records, they are only a small part of a much longer story." Harry interjected, his voice warm but clearly trembling. "We love our children more than anything. Lilibet and Archie are our everything. Do not let these rumors destroy our little family." However, the shift in position was too obvious. From vehemently denying "that is not my voice" and "this is a royal conspiracy," Meghan had moved to "I admit there were times I lost control." The public did not overlook that detail. What disappointed people even more was that Meghan offered no clear apology. Not a single word to Emily Hargrove, the brave nanny who had come forward. Not a single apology to Lilibet for the nights she cried alone. She did not retract her accusations against the royal family. She only said, "Everything has been blown out of proportion," and stopped there. Moreover, even though Catherine had officially sued for defamation, Meghan and Harry made no legal countermoves. They did not sue Emily, did not provide evidence that the video was edited, and did not request independent court verification. That silence only convinced the public further. Meghan did not have enough proof to defend her previous stance. Within 48 hours of the interview, the consequences came crashing down. Netflix postponed a new documentary project indefinitely. Fashion and beauty brands terminated contracts. The couple's book sales plummeted. Hollywood friends who had once supported them now stayed silent or distant. Harry sat in the living room, looking at his wife with utter despair. "Meghan, what do we have left?" In contrast, Catherine's image shone brighter than ever. She did not need to speak again. Through quiet action and convincing evidence, she had strengthened her position as a mother and a trustworthy princess. British opinion polls showed her approval rating skyrocketing to record levels, while support for the Sussexes fell to an all-time low. This royal story did not end with dramatic gunfire or grand declarations. It ended with a harsh truth and lingering silence. Meghan had once built an image of a strong modern woman rising above the outdated monarchy. But her choices in the shadows had destroyed it all. Now, standing before the mirror in the vast mansion, Meghan was left with one unanswered question. Was there still any way to salvage what had been lost? The storm had passed, but the ruins it left behind would haunt them for a very long time. If you were Meghan in that situation, would you prioritize work or being with your child when your child faced an emergency? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Remember to like, share, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy